part of it that actually kind of got me started down that path, I think, was as the election was approaching in 2008. That was the political scene was getting a little restless. Again, nothing compared to today, as you and I talked
Right.
about. But as Obama was coming on the scene, there was some tension there. There was a lot of tension left over from the Bush administration and some of what had happened there with the Iraq War. And admittedly, while I have been a big fan of President Bush after he left office and how he's conducted himself as the perfect ex-president in many
Right.
ways,
Right.
I was not a huge fan of his during his administration, or more accurately, his administration and some of the people he surrounded himself with. And I think the reason that kind of came up with me is that most of my friends were much more fans of his and his administration than I was.
Mm.
So it kind of became a little bit of a teasing thing as I started writing it, just to you know get in their face a little bit. But
Right.
then, as I started into the book, I was really started to get invested in it, really enjoyed it, and I like that whole idea of something's going to drive the action, and the idea of the conspiracies that are still going around from all through history. 9/11 conspiracies were still a very hot topic at the time of that election in 2008, and people wondering, is something going to happen on the 10th anniversary?
Right.
Again, those kind of things. So I think that's what drove it, and I picked UVA for all those reasons. Made the main characters, the professor who was teaching this politics of conspiracy, that because of their research into the conspiracies around 9/11, kind of caught the attention of people in the government that would prefer people not be searching for that. Yeah.
Correct. I loved all of that. I think like when I was reading it, one of the things that um, political thrillers have a high bar for me.
Hmm.
And I think because one, I am in the DC area.
Hmm.
So sometimes like people write stuff and I'm like, yeah, that it's so like it's not plausible or this isn't real. Like the research I feel like isn't there.
Hmm.
And I also spent time working in news on the network side for MSNBC and so for political shows. So I have a
Hmm.
lot of friends that work in government or work for the alphabet agencies. So there's like I think a level of knowledge that I come into books that are situated in political thrillers that
Hmm.
it's just like has a little high bar for me. And when certain things are written certain ways, it's more distracting for me if it's just totally not plausible. It takes me out of the story.
Hmm.
And I was able to remain totally in the story with this. And so even with a professor having a class that's about conspiracy theories and getting kind of pinged because there are people listening and watching is something that we know. Like
Hmm.
there are people listening and watching,
Sure.
and and so that felt like just very real. And I think that with 9/11 to focus on that, and just to piggyback on what you said, people, we hold our breath around these anniversaries. It's something that's happened a while ago, but a lot of us know where we were when 9/11 happened, what
Absolutely.
we were doing. And around that time, at least I will say for me, it's always like a somber, like, a moment, like a bracing kind of wanting to get through, wanting to honor the day, wanting to get through the
Hmm.
day as well. So I really think that it was a good one to focus on, and that there are a lot of thoughts out there as to what
Yeah,
really happened and do we know the truth and was something covered up and were we complicit at
exactly.
all. So yeah, I just really enjoyed reading it. So good.